Not the election, not the firing on Fort Sumter, but the inauguration, where in his inaugural speech, Lincoln refused to promise the southern states and the border states, including Virginia, that he would not use force to bring the southern states that had seceded back into the Union, or had those states that had or would take federal installations. And at that point, this region began to turn. Virginia saw itself as a southern state, and it wished to ally itself with the South. And just a couple days after the firing on Fort Sumter, the secession convention in Virginia voted in favor of leaving the Union. Now, Virginia would join the Confederacy just 3 weeks later, but the ratification of the secession vote didn't come until May 23rd. So you have the convention on April 17th. Virginia joins the Confederacy on May 8th, 1861, but then the ratification vote comes on May 23rd. Really, what's there to ratify? It's already essentially been done. But it became a test of public sentiment. And not just a test of the body politic, but a test of your sentiment, and your sentiment, and your sentiment. There was a mania for unanimity at the time that became overwhelming in the local body politic. So let me ask you that, I'm going to do some quick math here. There was 2,025 votes cast on the secession question in Fredericksburg, Spotsylvania, and Stafford. Anyone know how many of those 2,025 votes were cast against secession? 6 is the answer. 6. 2 in Spotsylvania, which included Fredericksburg. 2. But Spotsylvania refused to report the 2, so their numbers actually went in as 323 to 0. They just ignored the 2 positive votes or opposition votes, and 4 in Stafford County. But the question of whether or not you voted for secession became a huge one when you made your claim after the war for damages. Were you loyal? Well, did you vote for secession? And if you did, what is the government to conclude from that? Well, I would tell you that May 23rd, 1861 is the most undemocratic day in Virginia's history. That vote against or in favor of secession did not reflect the sentiment of the body politic. It reflected efforts to cajole and intimidate, including Joseph Burwell Ficklin, who claimed later that he was opposed to secession, but voted only in favor of the ordinance. Well, remember this, though. At the time, it was a voice vote. You presented yourself at the courthouse or at the voting place, and the registrar asked you your vote. With everybody standing around, what was your vote? And you had to announce your vote publicly. In Fredericksburg, the first person who voted in favor of secession, in opposition to secession, was, by the way, the mayor's great-great-grandfather, Joseph Mills. And when he said that, someone jumped up in the audience and said, whoever the next man is who votes for secession, we're going to hang him. And all around town, all around Stafford, the intimidation went on. One man said there was an appearance of determination to deal roughly with those who did not vote for secession. I still clung to the Union with my heart, but I could not tell the crowd. Abraham Primer, who lived up in Bel Air, new subdivision up off of Leland Road, he said every influence was employed to intimidate any who were suspected of the crime of being a Union man. I was warned of my danger. I voted for the ratification of the ordinance. I voted it against my judgment. I was afraid of my life. And so this campaign of intimidation, which actually included the movement of troops through Stafford County, there were 2 Confederate regiments in town, one of which camped on the farm of a known Unionist just before the election.